Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're still in the midst of our Eastern Clash 4th seed qualification match base is what you can call this, but it's not based on who wins the series. It's based on whether or not BlossoM can win the next 2 maps in a row.
Yep, it does come down to the next 2 maps, and for BlossoM, you know, I felt like they were able to really pull it together when it mattered the most and come up with a win. But can they do that 2 more games in a row? It was already going to be maybe a little bit of a close match. And so if you think, okay, well, if both of these teams are evenly matched, they go 3-2, but that's not good enough. BlossoM has to win either 3-0 or 3-1, and after dropping the first game, they're going to have to win every game from now on. And, I mean, against Miracle, it seemed doable there in that last game, but definitely not like it was totally one-sided. So when it comes to these next 2 games, I mean, it needs to look more one-sided. Otherwise, BlossoM are going to be fighting a battle that they might win, but if they don't win it hard enough, they're not going to Eastern Clash.
Yeah, I mean, winning the series is not the objective anymore. It's winning 2 maps in a row, winning it 3-1, and securing your spot in Eastern Clash. So as we head into this, we've got 3 maps left, and you've got to win the next 2. You don't want that game 5. You've already taken momentum back, tied up the series. You've got to continue that momentum going forward. There were a lot of weaknesses, I think, for the mid-game there for Team BlossoM, but they were able to use their late-game advantages to carefully and safely secure a win. Almost too careful in a lot of ways, but I don't want to blame the team for that. I don't want to say, well, they could have done this, they could have done et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Given the scenario where if they lose even 1 more map, including that previous map, they're not going to be able to play here in Korea for Eastern. So I can respect that sort of passive attitude. It could cause problems if they continue to play like that, for example, when they do go to Eastern Clash or for Part 2, or trying to look at BlizzCon qualification. But for now, like, I respect the passivity because it got them the win in the end of the day.
Well, now we are coming into our 3rd map of the series. This is going to be BOE, and a way to start, or a way to you'll keep the momentum going for BlossoM. It is definitely possible. I mean, BOE, obviously, I think the Alex Straza pick that has been kind of working out for Miracle is probably not going to come through here, but I do want to see what BlossoM have in store to keep this momentum going.
Yeah, this is the map where the draft, I think, is in my opinion, it's the most important map for draft, because the objective is front and center. There's no way to, like, avoid the objective or play around it or, like, try to soak or try to get camps. Like, when the objective is up, you win it or you lose it, and the game is decided often besides that. Like, Heroes of the Storm is a game where the objective has a huge importance, but there are ways to play around it with, you know, and not actually put all your eggs in the objective basket on most battlegrounds. But this is not one of them. So we're going to have to see how these comps go. What usually happens, for those who, you know, aren't too familiar with the pro scene, which is probably not all of you guys staying up late to watch this in Korea, you have one comp that's designed to race the Immortal down, win that hit point war, and the team that has the inferior comp of that usually goes for a dive-oriented comp, which will then try to kill the team that has the better racing comp, so that they can then win by getting kills. How these 2 comps collide, we'll have to wait and see. Raynor means that Miracle's looking for that racing composition, at least for the start of the draft.
And there is a sense in which you can kind of play this maybe a little bit PvE if you can just race down the Immortal. I mean, Raynor can definitely do that, right? But previously, on this map specifically, we've seen the counter to going for that kind of Raynor race has been Vala. And I don't know if BlossoM are really going to be comfortable pulling that out, but that is something that maybe they can go for if they do want to play that game.
So they're already kind of moving away from that, and they're looking for more flexibility. Li Ming is one of the most flexible heroes on this map, because if you win the first half, and then what I think Gilead Red coined as halftime occurs, right? The Immortal swap position. If you win the first half before that swap occurs, no matter where the Immortals are, as Li Ming, you can stand in the middle and just shoot abilities at them and eventually kind of defend while doing damage at poke. Li Ming is the best hero at doing that. Doesn't necessarily mean that BlossoM's not going to pick up a second DPS here and try to counter the race or go for something a little bit more divey, but Li Ming is the most flexible in terms of the Immortal race, so BlossoM's not really showing much identity with this draft yet. But they're making a draft that's difficult to counter, and a draft that can, once Miracle shows a little bit more as to what they want to do, become stronger. And I think we're going to learn a lot about what that's going to be when we see this ban come through for Miracle. Phoenix
okay,
removed.
it is a Phoenix. I don't think that's too surprising. It's been one of, if not, I think the highest priority pick-wise. Just a crazy win rate. But the ban right here, you know, this is what we see a lot of times used for Raynor, the last ban in the second phase. But I mean, Raynor's already been picked, so what do they need to limit here to stop BlossoM from being able to race them down?
So they do get rid of Hammer. So Hammer and Li-Ming both can kind of just sit in the middle, sit on the edge, do that free poke damage.
Right.
And do it at an incredibly fast rate. So Miracle is just saying basically with this, like, we have the better racing comp. Like, you have to pick dive now, and you've already picked your top laner, which normally ends up being like the more divey hero. If you're like a Sonya, for example, if you are trying to play that aggressive style, so they don't have that option anymore. It's a tough spot for BlossoM. The Phoenix ban was incredibly intelligent for them to kind of limit what Miracle can do, because if they have Raynor and Phoenix, like, how do you ever win a race? You have to dive, and Phoenix has an escape. But Anub'arak makes this comp a little bit more divey, like I was saying. Thrall makes this a little bit more aggressive, right? This is a comp that, again, goes off of Honkono's initiation with the Anub'arak, being aggressive. These two styles continue to collide and clash, and they're now even more accentuated by the map itself and the composition that Miracle has chosen. For the final pick, we'll need to see their second DPS. It will be Lunara. Ooh. Burn damage to Haka for global. Yeah. And also counter to aggressive dive, you know. Come in, get grabbed, get isolated. Don't live very long.
So Lunara does represent a lot of damage to come out. So this is going to be very high damage for Miracle, but can it survive through the engage that BlossoM is going to be putting at it, whether it's Jet Propulsion, Burrow Charge? It's just going to be a lot of that coming their way, and it will take a lot of mobility, a lot of carefulness, safety to keep heroes like Raynor alive. I mean, I just can't count the number of times we see Raynor picked after the most recent changes, and he just gets chain CC'd into oblivion every single time. It's going to be dangerous, but certainly BlossoM has the components to make it work here in what you were actually talking about being a very draft-centric battleground.
Yeah, this is a draft for BlossoM that plays to the strengths of their players, and it does look for those picks on a hero that doesn't have escapes. Lunara has, you know, some mobility, but doesn't really have an escape either, so the positioning of the DPSs on Miracle is going to be more than anything so important, because if you are just never in range to be hit by an Impale or a Burrow Charge, then it means that BlossoM is going to really struggle to engage. So I think we're going to probably see good positioning, but we're going to see really long Immortal fights where Miracle wins the first half, the Immortals swap position, and then it's like, okay, like, they're carefully trying to poke in. BlossoM's got Li-Ming trying to chunk things down, getting blocked by Muradin, who's then healing up. Let's see how it all plays out, though, because post-10, Meriday's going to have Stay a While and Listen, so they're going to have the ability to set up some really massive engages, big CC chains, resets for Li-Ming, then win the objective itself.
You guys are learning how to count backwards in Korean right there for a second,
yeah.
And away we go. Blaze just heading straight up for the top half, not even going to be present for our little 5v5. We have our kind of dance down here. Of course, that's not really going to matter too much, but Modern walking a little bit too far forward. He's going to pay for it. Beautiful positioning there by Dako. Nacho Jin dragging in for a first blood Miracle.
Nice opening here. Judy misses the follow-up Stormbolt, but it probably wasn't going to do too much for them either way. Do so much damage to structures. Now, later on, we're going to see, you know, the extra damage for Lunara. She's going to do tons of damage to structures, the Immortal. Then we're going to see Unfair Advantage. We also see Ace in the Hole for Raynor, so he's going to do more damage to slow targets. So that Unfair Advantage, all of these things are going to make slows that come out, roots, etc., just mean that whoever gets caught is going to be blown up in a matter of seconds. You know, maybe they live through Raynor's damage, but the burn from Lunara will kill.
Another sick drag here, man. Wiz is just having a bad day. He's going to get bullied a lot there, but on the other side, he has to rely on the rest of his team getting more damage done, and they are certainly doing a good job poking that wall. Cannon tower down to about, what, half HP?
Yeah.
A third.
Frankel's job is going to somewhat be to just sit back and do damage, and Judy is going to have to be the blocker. Judy's going to have to be the battery for the Li-Ming shots a lot of the time, and then just eat those shots to prevent damage to be done to the Immortal, to prevent damage to be done for Frankel, and then he's going to heal with his passive, his second win. Huge engage here for Honkono, potentially, but there's just no follow-up. However, with the commitment of Sniper in the top lane to just dominate this matchup in the top, they end up losing a whole wall, so BlossoM is actually going to take a slight lead from this in terms of structures. Miracle can if no swaps occur, do the same in the top lane, but it looks like instead they're going to send the Nara down. Meanwhile, Frankel is going to eat that orb. That's what happens when Judy's not there, man. They're going to eat those.
Down instantly.
Here we go.
Miracle are going to try to turn for the counter engage. Sniper coming down means Hong Kono kind of gives his life for the rest of the team, allows them to get away, but he does go down. And so look at what Miracle are doing right here. They sacrifice that wall. Yeah, that's kind of a deficit to take, but they take the top camp, rotate very, very quickly down, take the bottom camp as well. And so now this is the moment where they look to kind of make that deficit back.
This also shows that Miracle thinks that they have the better objective comp. So the way they played this gets them a small lead, but if it failed, like for example, if the gank failed, I think worst case scenario, they'd be pretty even, which again shows they're like, well, first Immortal hasn't even spawned yet. You know, as long as we're not behind, as long as we're not getting picked, we're in a great spot. And so far they are. 2 kills to 0. Immortal's going to spawn. Let's see how BlossoM can execute pre-10, the kind of dive style. Only 4 stocks here for Thrall as well in this early game. Not a good sign. So it's going to be the top Immortal that they get onto. Watch the hit point bar fall. BlossoM is going to try to do the same down here, but Judy's going to slow them down. And it's just no contest, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Judy's positioning means that Li Ming can't do that that position between the Immortals right in the middle.
That's right.
It's a little bit too vulnerable, so just trying to race down the Immortals, and that's just not a great game to play against Miracle, who have a comp designed to do just that.
The one scary thing was the cap. Nitrogen grabs the Shaman itself, pulls it in, so the cap is done, no longer a factor here. They're getting extra soak with the Dahaka. So notice where Li Ming stands. Modern Life actually just trying to be aggressive here. They're actually looking for a fight rather than trying to whittle down the Immortal. Gondor was doing that, but here comes the commitment. Wiz goes in.
Yeah,
they get the pick.
Jet propulsion does allow them to take out Lunar at the beginning of the fight. Blue Beetle should fall, yeah, and there he does go right there. And I mean, that's 2 big picks. The hard engaged, this aggressive comp that BlossoM has drafted is proving more effective than the ability to race down the Immortal that Miracle's going for.
Yeah, it's kind of an idea of like the unstoppable force versus immovable object, but in this case the object moved. Miracle was caught, the engage was good, and BlossoM will walk away with a 5.7k Immortal here because the dive worked out. It was an interesting way to play it because Miracle also expected that we were going to see Li Ming chucking abilities at the Immortal while they try to be aggressive with their front line to try to trade that one out. But BlossoM actually went a step further. They went for the engage, they used the missiles aggressively, they got the pick, and they end up winning the first Immortal. So this is worst case scenario for Miracle pre-10 is BlossoM's looking like they're going to get 10 first. We'll see how much damage this Immortal does. It's going to be a pretty calm first Immortal here. There's not much Miracle could do for an engage. They have to be careful. It's pretty easy for this Immortal to get to the fort is kind of what I'm saying. There's not much Miracle can do to like just say no or look for a hard engage. It's going to get to this fort. It's going to do some damage. It's not going to kill the fort, but well, I mean, it may.
I think it might. Miracle are playing this one very, very passively. They know that there's a high likelihood that if, say, Sniper runs into a scroll of ceiling, this is just going to go from bad to worse. So they back off. They don't try to save the fort.
I mean, they can't fight. They can't engage because of all the CC we've been talking about, because they're going up against a dive comp that, like, the Immortal doesn't get bled down as fast as I thought it would. You know, the same comp that's designed to kill it when it's in the Immortal phase. You barely get the fort, but they couldn't engage, so BlossoM's feeling great about this. They're going to get 10 first. That's when their comp even comes online. So they might be able to get back-to-back Immortals here, get 2 early forts, maybe even more than that if they can win a big fight as death timers get longer. And what was, a great start for Miracle where they kept things even and they looked to win the first Immortal is completely turned on its head by some quick plays by BlossoM, some good dive, and good execution of this comp they need to continue to win these fights with. And that's how they've been playing all 3 maps so far, is initiation, aggression. And it suits the map, it suits their enemy, it's a comp that suits what they're running up against. The Raynor, the Lunara, that have no escapes really, very squishy.
Yeah. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but it does seem like Miracle put an awful lot of their eggs in the Raynor Lunar basket.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Insane amounts of damage there if you can stay alive long enough for them to come online, but it's all positioning based, and against the BlossoM. BlossoM are really, this is them taking their destiny in their hands. They're not going to try to just like win a random fight or rely on Miracle messing up. They are going to bring it to them when it comes to like fighting for the Immortals. BlossoM are always proactive about that, proactive about taking down these keeps afterwards, and I really do like that they are realizing that this game could absolutely eliminate them from that Eastern Clash contention.
They have to just continue to play well, and it's a high pressure situation. It's a high pressure comp. I mean, this comp can really backfire if the communication and the coordination is not there. But they have 10 advantage now. It's not quite ready yet, but it will be in just a second, so we can just kind of go ahead and say that. Miracle can't contest this Immortal when 10 hits, and they're going to get so much free damage done. Already 6k, 7k lead right now. So Miracle now is in the position where they're the ones who have to engage. They're the ones who have to die, but they don't have 10. And they don't have anything that can initiate. Only Dahaka can try to flank. He's trying to soak for 10. But during this window of time, it's just not realistic for Miracle. So that's how things go really badly for Miracle. That's why I was saying they need to be even, worst case, when we get to 10. Because they're behind, it's really bad for them. They're just now going to get 10. They have to initiate, but they don't have a comp that has initiation. Still doing a ton of damage, though, is Sniper.
Yeah, Sniper getting slowed up, stunned out there at the last second. Sundered to the side, but actually does stay alive. Now look at Frankel. He's going to go ahead, call down the Hyperion, and Sniper and Frankel are actually doing an insane amount of damage from behind. This is what the best case scenario looks like for Miracle, and it's continuing to go their way. But can they find kills off it? One kill does come through here. I thought Sniper might look for the final pick, but they are going to return and try to chunk down the Immortal when it flies into the lane. That was about the best way it could go, but they only got one kill off of it.
They only got one kill, and it's still a huge win for BlossoM. This is not only an Immortal, but a fully shielded Immortal, unscratched, unscathed, coming into this. Bit of a weird heroic pick for Raynor as well, the Hyperion here. I think maybe not the best choice for longevity on this map. Can give you a lot of pushing power and can poke a lot, but I don't know about that choice.
Well, the idea is you're supposed to, I mean, we've even seen Duskwings come through as the final, heroic, and I'm just like, well, you want to get as much DPS as possible. That's why you're picking Raynor in the first place. And you go Hyperion, I don't know, but either way, now Miracle are going to try to run away not only from the Immortal, but from a very strong BlossoM. They're once again playing very aggressively, looking to force the fight.
Judy getting away here almost. I mean,
disengaged there by Frankel, stopping that jet propulsion forward. Dalewild is going to trap too. Can they find the kills? Frankel low, but sustaining behind the wall. The Immortal about to fall, and BlossoM backing out with it.
Yeah, very well played here by Miracle. Like, Judy played like a god there. I mean, we criticized his tank play for almost 2 years, I think, in Korea here, but he's finally really making a case for, running comps like this. His Murden escaping, dodging those skill shots.
Yeah.
Incredible defenses for Miracle all night long. I mean, this team has totally changed its play style. But keep walls down. Okay, keep walls down.
Right.
The engages were really good there for BlossoM in the end. When Lunara is really going to come online is going to be once she gets unfair advantage. And she already has Nature's Culling, which you can see is making a big difference here. They can get that very early in the game. It's one of the reasons why she's relevant in competitive play. But these are the things that really start to stack up and explode. Like, if you have unfair advantage in that fight, BlossoM probably loses 2 members, right? They actually end up losing people in that situation. Whereas in this case, they get away safely, quote-unquote safely. And nobody dies. So these kinds of aggressive plays that BlossoM has been doing throughout these first 3 games, where they're really trying to push the envelope as to what they could do with small advantages that are risky, might come up a little bit worse once that unfair advantage is ready. We're going to reset the slate here. They got the back-to-back Immortals from the first good dive into the 10 advantage they had, but this time everything is reset. Sure, they have structural lead, but that doesn't matter in terms of experience at all. Nitrogen has been keeping that even. And so this fight is going to be just like the first one, where again, they're going to have to make a big dive. They're actually pushing bot pretty heavily right now.
Yeah, there's no keep wall down there either, like you were saying earlier, Wolf. So maybe time to try to put some pressure down there. BlossoM, as we just saw in the last game, willing to kind of split an objective for the core. They're not opposed to just going for it. So maybe Miracle have to play a little bit more carefully. But now it's time to race for the Immortals once again. It looks
they're going to have to engage again, you know? This is where they're going to have to dive. They're going to have to make something happen, just like on the first Immortal. They're behind. Look at the disengage here for Miracle. Just not giving them an opportunity. They don't activate halftime. Okay, just now. It does get activated there from the burn damage from Lunara. Halftime's up. BlossoM is again, their backs against the wall here. Have to make something happen. They also have to deal with that top camp, which was super well timed for Miracle. They did damage it, but didn't fully clear it.
Yeah, really well timed. Now Judy being aggressive, but not overcommitting. And then BlossoM know they either have to go for it, force a fight right here, or Miracle are just going to out-damage them on the Immortal. So they're playing defensively, protecting their own Immortal, and trying to keep Miracle off of a fight that they're going to win.
This is what I was talking about with Modern Life, where Judy needs to block the shots, at least as many as he can. He's not actually there right now, so Modern's getting some damage done. Where Leeming kind of stands in the middle, why the Sergeant Hammer ban came out earlier. You're just looking for, okay, they can't now collapse on us. They don't have a lot of poke, so it's very dangerous for them to try to hit our Immortal, and we're just going to continue to poke with the Leeming. That's why the Leeming pick is so safe on this map. But they cannot make a mistake with Modern Life, or everything can turn on its head.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Miracle know they have a little bit of Immortal health to work with, so they kind of give up that advantage to buy a little bit of time. That camp that they took from the 12 o'clock location just now going down. They survived for a long time and did about half health to that forward up there. So got some value from there. Judy now back to playing aggressively, and as Miracle rotates down to try to get a little bit more damage on this Immortal, now might be the time for BlossoM to try to go.
Okay, they're going in. They're going in to look for a fight here.
Nice burrow there, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Nitrogen pops up and goes down. Another Hyperion call down is going to be right on top of the bunker. Yeah, it's not a structure, so it can't Yamato it. But either way, it's going to at least force everyone out of the bunker as Miracle is forced back. And a nice pick there by BlossoM means that it's going to be a 5-on-3 for an Immortal that looks like it's theirs.
Not entirely sure why Miracle, for some reason, just lost total sight of what their comp is designed to do. They looked for a hard engage there after we saw Nitrogen was caught. They should have just tried to back away, poke a little bit more, wait for his fairly fast respawn timer to come through, because taking that fight there was never going to be successful in that choke point against what BlossoM is running. They got totally smashed, got totally stomped. Again, they played into BlossoM's hands. BlossoM with this great opening there on the Nitrogen. The Cocoon to follow up there eliminates Raynor. And now once again, keep under threat. BlossoM looking to take this early macro lead. The camp is in the bottom lane, so once again, Wiz is making sure that they have this extra factor here. And those two forts are going to be some nice catch-up experience for Miracle, kind of gaining interest right now.
Wiz is making sure that's an extra factor?
Oh, sorry, not Wiz, my bad.
Oh, I was like, yeah, that's on the other team.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know why I said Wiz there.
Just trying to keep everything safe.
Talking about Nitrogen at first.
Right. He is doing an excellent job trying to keep things even, side laning and then returning to join the fight. But here's another huge engage. It's going to be a blow up this time onto a Lunara who just does not get to play the game. He's out of here, and actually Frankel just trying to stay alive in the back. He cannot get anywhere near BlossoM because of how hard their engage is.
Okay, we're going to see the collapse here now onto Judy. He does get the Avatar off, but this just may be game over for Miracle if they can't do anything to turn this fight right now. Nitrogen getting very, very low. Good burrow, but again, it's not going to save him. He goes down, and the core looks like it's going to go down with him.
Yeah, it's Battlecruiser Rush not working out. It's going to be a half-health core here and so much health left on even just the Immortal. It's still alive. Their core is not. And BlossoM pulls out another win to put them one game away from not only the series win, but from advancing on to the Eastern Clash.
One win away. It's been a tough series. They lost the first game. The second game was a little bit tough. The first game, they had, of course, a draft that was really... Their draft is the more high pressure, right? They're the divers. They're the ones who have to make the initiation happen, but it's how they've been playing this entire series. They make it work twice on those two big Immortals. The first one leads into a 10, which gives them a second Immortal for free. But the third one, because of Nitrogen, not Wiz, my mistake on that earlier, because of Nitrogen's macro play on the Dahaka, his ability to continue to soak, to grab those camps, they stay even on soak. And yet again, halftime goes Miracle's way. But Modern Life on Leeming eliminates a lot of their Immortal health, puts the pressure onto Miracle. They try to take their comp and engage with it, which is not what it's designed to do. They make that mistake. Once again, BlossoM kind of sets up that engage, wins the dive fight, wins the game off of it. So they had a tough ask. They, gave away the Raynor, but they drafted a strong draft to continue this dominance of Anubrak, who's now 2-0 today. The win rate just keeps climbing. So
wow, it is really impressive to see it specifically on Anubrak, but that Anubrak Blade is just double hard engage combo. It's just so hard for Miracle to deal with, and yeah, I'm always waiting for that perfect game, right, where you pick some ranged hyper carry, right, and you just have such perfect zoning. You stay away from all the hard engage, do a billion damage, blow everybody up, and make it just look so broken. This was not that game.
No. Definitely was not.
Another first pick Raynor that leads to an inevitable loss, or it's seemingly inevitable loss. It just does not seem to be what that hero is meant for.
I want to take a look at the exact number. I actually had this on my head earlier, but I forgot what Raynor's win rate is in this
low.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
He was 2-5. He's now 2-6. So, math, 25% win rate.
Like I said, 33% win rate.
2 and 6.
Oh, okay. Two. I was adding it up the other way. Wow, I'm bad at math.
I got you.
That's right.
I got you.
It is 2 of 8. The 6 was throwing me off there, Wolf.
25% win rate, very low in 8 games. That's a pretty big sample size.
Okay. Wow, that's why I don't do math on air. But you're right. That is very low. I don't think we're going to see another first pick Raynor. He's great in Hero League. You guys should totally play him. If you're playing quick match and you pick Raynor, then really what are you trying to prove? I don't know. But he's very strong outside of competitive play. Teams like BlossoM and Miracle, these middle-of-the-pack teams, even they are still able to deal with that. So maybe it was just the battleground and the comp, the purpose not working out, trying to rush down those Immortals.
It was just BlossoM knowing that their comp needed to stop the rush. And obviously, for both of those Immortals, except the second one, like the first and the third, because the second one was like irrelevant. Like, we have 10, they don't. Like, how do you lose that? But the first and the third, the actual Immortal fights that really mattered, the ones that were actually like a fair fight because they were on even experience, both the first and the third Immortals, the first half just crushed by Miracle. They have the Lunara, they have the Raynor. But then, you know, the first one, heavy engage coming through from Honkono, ends up getting a combo. They end up getting the kills. The third one, they have an initiation onto Nacho Jin, and instead of letting Nacho Jin die and then trying to play a little bit more passively, trying to find other objectives, Miracle collapses in to try to save him, and it just goes horribly wrong from there.
Basically the worst decision. That's just so much not what their comp is designed to do. But I do want to say, even though Nacho Jin did get caught out in the end there and kind of led to his team's untimely demise after that point, he was actually doing a sick job in the macro kind of sense. He was split pushing lanes like Dahak is supposed to do, getting them all that soak experience, taking camps to allow them to counter push against their bottom keep wall that was down, and just really did a lot that, I mean, ultimately it didn't matter. Ultimately he did get caught, so not a perfect job, but, you know, they have all of those facets that are working. They're just not working well enough. And now it comes down to the wire, their final game against BlossoM.
Cursed Hollow is going to be the map, so